Yo, what's up, dudes and dudettes? This is one and only Sugachi RPG here, and today I'm gonna be reviewing Ruined King, a League of Legends story for PC, and this will be based on the launch version of the game. Obviously, there has been a couple of mini patches there and there, fixing out a lot of the bugs inside the game. If you're watching this video from 1 month or 2 months from now, I'm pretty sure that they have fixed out a lot of the bugs currently inside the game. Now, there will be some minor spoilers on this video regarding which characters are going to be making an appearance or not, but for the most part I'm trying to keep this very spoiler free for the most people here who are especially excited about the story side of this game. So in case you didn't know, Ruined King is based on the League of Legends universe, and this is a game that was basically done by the Airship Syndicate, who are known from their Battle Chasers game, and pretty much the Battle Chasers game is the same game engine here, so the game is very similar to that. If you have played it, it's going to be very, very easy for you to get into Ruined King. There's some, quality of life changes there and there between these two games, and some of the systems are slightly different, but for the most part, it is indeed very, very similar type of a game. So kind of like, Darkest Dungeons or any type of a Final Fantasy game, meets, League of Legends universe. Now, the story is revolving around the Shadow Isles, which is one of the major continents in the League of Legends universe, and Bilgewater, which is also another major continent, or city more so, in the world. And there's going to be 6 playable characters inside the game. There's going to be Misfortune, Eloy, Braum, Pike, Ahri, and Yasuo. So pretty much from all the major continents outside from Demacia, Shurima, and Noxus, and I guess Piltover. Well, so basically pretty much all the Bilgewater characters, and Braum is obviously from Fjord, and Ahri and Yasuo are from Ionia. So it's a mixed cast, 3 female characters, 3 male characters. Each of them are, a mix of different combat styles. For example, Pike is like a full-on damage and does a lot of debuffs. Eloy is like a fighter with a lot of heals. Ahri is like a caster character which also has heals. Braum is like a very tank type of defensive character. And then you have Misfortune, which is also kind of like a damage dealer for the most part. So it's kind of like a combination of 2 tank characters, and then you have 4 DPS, and you do your party of 3, which you can change throughout the game. Obviously, you won't be unlocking all the characters in the very beginning, and all of these characters are slowly introduced throughout the game, and you kind of get them into an introduction to them, and they will be meeting the first time ever each other, and that's kind of like a very nice, because you can like build up that type of a relationship between all the characters inside the story. And those who are watching the Netflix series, this does take place after it, and it doesn't really have any connection to Arcane whatsoever, so these are events that are taking place after the events or the main timeline of League of Legends, which doesn't really have a proper timeline of sorts. It just has kind of like random timed events which take place at different parts around the story and etc. And this rolls around kind of like the the event where the Gangplank died inside the game, and this kind of takes place after that, briefly after that, sort of. So yeah, we could kind of talk about it being sequel story to the main League of Legends, which doesn't really have a correct timeline story. But you don't need to play League in order to understand the game or enjoy it. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of fan service, and you're going to be appreciating a lot more of that if you have played League before. Now, let's talk about a bit of the difficulty and other aspects of the game. So it took me 30 hours to complete the game, and that includes a couple of crashes inside the game, and dying a couple of times. There's a story difficulty which allows you to lose all the battles, by the way. So if you're just there to enjoy the story, that's the difficulty you really want to go for. And the gameplay, as I said, is like around 30 hours for me. You can probably complete it in 20 hours if you're going to be doing the speed run and not doing any of the side missions and quests and bounties inside the game. You can just easily get more 35 hours or up to 40 hours if you do all the quests, like get the legendary items for all the characters and find all the treasures and the lores and all that type of stuff. And in terms of the story, I think it's pretty decent. It's a lot of character, you know, development and kind of giving an introduction to these characters. What the normal game is not really able to do because it's a PvP game. It's not something that is very story oriented with a lot of dialogue. And that's what I liked about, you know, Shadow Isles, Ruined King. It's not as good of a story like Arcane, for example, but I think it's still like a pretty decent. Has a couple of twists. It's a bit, how do I say it? It kind of lacks, you know, twists and like major events. So everything you see from the get-go is the characters, you know, combining their forces to take down the Ruined King known as Viego and also Trash. And that's pretty much the main story here, and then there's the gangplank and everything around it, but it doesn't really have like these major twists, okay? So it's kind of like a straightforward story in that sense, outside from these tiny details and spin-off lore that you see in the game. Now, there is a lot of bugs and glitches inside the game, so yeah. A lot of quests are bugged, whether it's display bugs or you're not able to complete some type of a side quest inside the game. These are something that appear. There are a couple of like animation bugs and crash bugs which may occur. And yeah, it's not like the most cleanest launch, to be honest. It's not Cyberpunk 2077 though, but I mean, yeah, could have needed like a couple of weeks of polishing here, to be honest, like ironing those bugs out. It's not a very nice gameplay experience, especially in a JRPG game. Or RPG game in this case, where, you know, you're not able to do like 100% run or collect all the items or complete all the quests because they are just simply glitching out. And some, for example, one monster was not spawning for me, and there was like a lot of this type of stuff revolving around the side quests, and it was not good. And maybe in weeks they are going to be fixing those things, hopefully. And but for now, I don't think there's any like way to fix your saved games or anything. In terms of the music inside the game, I don't think it was anything outstanding really. League is something that has a history of making some good tracks recently, and we didn't really enjoy that in this game, sadly. So maybe they're okay, but it's not like, oh, this is something on all this outside of the game. Nothing like superb material. Now, since the game does take place in Bilgewater and also on, you know, Shadow Isles, there was an expectation to meet a lot of these characters inside the game, which are very, you know, iconic to these, like Regent Gangplank and Misfortune in Bilgewater. They are like very much revolving around the main story of Bilgewater, but then you have things like Tom Kench. Okay, where are you, mate? Like, he's a major character. Then we have Twisted Faith, which is another major old OG character, very popular, which is also associated with Bilgewater. Did not make an appearance. And yes, and then when we go into Shadow Isles, obviously a lot of people were like, yeah, where's Hecarim? Hecarim makes an appearance on one screenshot, but that's it. And like, Hecarim is a pretty major like Shadow Isles character. Like, he is the embodiment of Shadow Isles. Then we have Karthus, another OG character, and you had like opportunity to like improve the lore of a lot of these characters, which really weren't like very major or not known about, and they could have made like cameos or something, or mention. I mean, Callista, another one which didn't make an appearance inside the game. You know, there was a lore pages about her, like 2 pages inside the game. That's it. Gwen, which is the daughter of Viego, didn't make an appearance. There was one doll like appearing inside like an Easter egg, but like she would have been a very you know, integral part about what Ruined King is and his storyline. So that's really weird to me. And then obviously Yorick. You know, there was even a graveyard, but I didn't see any symbols or a mention about Yorick there. Maybe I didn't pay attention, but Yorick is definitely not in the game. Malachi made an appearance, which was very nice. And one of the most biggest things also for me was Elise, okay? Because Elise is very and Wildmoth. Like, Twisted Tree Line is like the most known location probably in Shadow Isles. and we didn't have Twisted Tree Line in this game. No Wild Maw, the Wild Maw is an item inside the game. Heart of Gold also made it as an item inside the game, but like where were these like very iconic things about Shadow Isles like Elise and Wild Maw and Twisted Tree Line? Like why you didn't think that these would be good things to include inside the game? Okay, I understand like someone like Vex wouldn't be added because he's a very new character, but to me this has been in development for some time now, and these didn't need it to be like playable characters, they just could have been bosses. So you just create up a one model for Hecarim, make him appear and say some shit, and then the party kills him or something. But this was really kind of disappointing for me, to be honest, and I would have wanted to see some of these characters make appearance. Obviously, you know, you can't add every single champion inside the game, but you would have expected that Shadow Isles being such a big focus here, that they would have been introduced here. But overall, I would say that the game offers a pretty good valuation for its price and the hours that it basically gives. The game's difficulty, something that I kind of forgot to mention, is a bit of a roller coaster. So it changes up quite a lot. The beginning is kind of hard, and then when you really get the main runes and the champion abilities like learned, you are gonna be like really good. And then like the last battle, the last boss fight, even if I had like, you know, max level characters and really high-end items, I still was kind of struggling with the last boss. So there was definitely, or maybe it was maybe I didn't pick out the most optimal team comp for that battle, but yeah, I definitely felt that there was a bit of a roller coaster problems with the difficulty inside the game. And yeah, but I mean, I did enjoy this experience. It was kind of nice to see the level designs, for example, very good. I felt like I was inside Shadow Isles. I felt like I was in Bilgewater, and kudos to those, you know, the team for actually like building out and making it feel like a League of Legends experience. It's just sad that it kind of felt short on some of that fan service. Story could have been a lot more intensive, and obviously we could have probably wanted to see some of those cameos. And then obviously this is like the reign of different bugs that people have reported out about the game, and you can find some montages out of those in YouTube. But I still recommend buying the game if you're a League fan, because it's a great, like, still a story and a part of an event that takes place inside the game, and it allows you to also fall in love with the characters. I want to like leave out that I didn't really know much about Ilaoi, or really didn't care much about her story, but she became really interesting in, you know, in this adaptation, and she, you know, kind of like, you know, explored a lot more. And I think there's going to be a lot more appreciation for her as a character and her story. But that's pretty much what I have to say. Please subscribe, like, and I probably will be restarting Battle Chasers again and reviewing that on the channel as well. The problem is that with as it was with Ruined King, it's a hard game. And, you know, you kind of expect to able to be run different types of team comps with different types of things. And just as in that game as it is in Ruined King, even if you do a lot of side quests and don't escape battles and just grind up, you still have struggling a bit on the game, you know, fighting normal fights and bosses. And that's something I don't really appreciate in terms of a game design perspective. But enough about blabbering. Thanks for watching. I will be seeing you guys on the next video.